Great to be with you today. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. In Romans chapter 7, this is probably one of the most powerful statements about strugglers. Now, in the context, Paul is speaking about one who's under law and trying to live the life while being under law. And there is no hope. There's no way he can be righteous when he's under law. But he gives us a little glimpse into his own struggles. Paul, a fellow struggler. And when I think of the Apostle Paul, I think of someone who's bigger than life. I see him standing and defending the faith and the truth in front of the Roman governor, even the emperors. I look at his great missionary journeys throughout the world, and I see as he instructs the churches to be faithful, encourages young Timothy to live the life and remain true to your calling. But I think sometimes we put him on a pedestal. You see, Paul was human, just like the rest of us. And as we read chapter 7 of the book of Romans, we see Paul a lot more human than we might think. In verses 14, 15, and then if you jump on down to verses 18 and 19, he was honest to recognize he had caught up in the stranglehold of sin. He was trying to live a life while living under the law. This is not Paul talking about the way it used to be before he became a Christian. This is Paul, the struggle that he faced every single day. And he was the one who said, we have all fallen short of the glory of God. We have sinned and fallen short. And I know if you're like me, you struggle with sin. And there's some days we feel that we can't even make it. And finally this frustration is breaking out on him. And he says, I delight in the law of God after the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity. That is the law of sin, which is in my members. And he says, when I want to do good, I end up doing bad. When I want to say the right thing, I say the wrong thing. And then he gets so frustrated, as it were. He said, "O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death?" That's in chapter 7, verses 22 and following. And then in chapter 8, thank God for Christ. For in Christ there's no condemnation. For in Christ there's no finger pointing. For in Christ we're all human and we all make mistakes. How many times a week could we kick ourselves for failing? We try to be patient with our children or the spouse, but in a flash we strike out and we say the wrong thing, and the words hurt us and hurt those around us before we even know it. And we're trying to break these fleshly habits. And we think we got a handle on it, and then we fall flat on our faces. And we promise, God, I'll never do that again. Next thing we know, we're at it again. And I feel like a failure. I just promised God I wouldn't do it again. We know we've steered clear. We thought we could handle it before. But whenever we try in our own strength, we're pinned to the mat. Whenever we try to do it by ourselves, there is no hope. And Paul is teaching us a great lesson. He admits there's a struggle going on with every human being. And you and I can never win it when we're trusting the arm of flesh. We're going to get beat up day in and day out because we're not strong enough. But the greatness of the promise of God here, there is no condemnation. In Christ, there's hope because we're not condemned. Because we're not put down. Because we're not disregarded. The prodigal son. And there's the father. Far off looking for him. Waiting to embrace him. Listen, don't give up on God, because God won't give up on you. Keep on struggling. Keep on fighting the fight. We're at war with the devil, the flesh, and the world. Keep up the fight. Keep up the struggle. Don't give in. May God bless you. May God keep you. He's on your side.